Hello YouTube people, this is Tracy here. Okay, this video is about a subject that is very near and also dear to my heart. But it involves wigs, it involves weaves and extensions, those two things which I'm not interested in, but okay, anyway. Alright, I had a friend, my best friend was telling me how this guy that she works with told her that she should cut her hair, knowing that the hair that she's wearing is a weave and it's long and it's pretty, and he didn't like it, and he was telling her that she should cut it or wear her natural hair. So that's what this video is about. I just want to address all the women out there that are currently dealing with this problem. Okay, it's a problem because, at least it is to me, because I cannot recall a time in history where, even 40 years ago, when women were wearing wigs, and the wigs didn't even look as good as this, that a number of black guys and maybe even some women were telling them that they were wrong for wearing them and not wearing their own natural hair. Okay, well, this is my argument with that. And again, I'm going to say, I'm not doing this video, I'm not being against everything because I, do wigs. Okay, so let's just get that out of the equation. All right, my issue with this is that since when do black women have to feel like we have the monopoly on loving our natural hair? Why is it that some of the men, or I'll say a vast majority of the men who do not like weaves, wigs, and extensions, some of them don't have any hair on their head? Why is it that if you are of color and you have a problem with the texture of your hair, or even so much the length of your hair, why is it that there seems to be this rule that you had better love your hair or else? Why is that? I grew up in the 70s. A lot of people around me had afros. And then things changed. And when the relaxers became better and they became better made and people weren't afraid to use them, they started using them. Men and women alike. The afro turned into a style where it was still round, but it was a soft curl. You could put rollers in your hair, wake up the next day and brush your hair. There were guys that were doing the same thing. In my generation and during that time in my life, nobody was talking about it was a sacrilege to do anything with your natural hair other than wearing it. That is a situation that this generation, I'm going to say this millennial generation, does not know about and does not understand. Why is it that as black people, like I said, why must we be the ones that have to love our hair? Because it seems that the whole rest of the Western world seems to hate it. I don't think that everybody that isn't black hates our hair, but I'll tell you something. I did not learn to hate my hair from people who were not black. I had learned early on to hate the texture of my hair by other people who were of color, who weren't even family, who had no investment emotionally or psychologically in how I felt about my hair. They passed that on to me because they hated their hair. So a lot of people in my neighborhood had relaxers, and some people had afros, mainly the guys. Okay, switching now to 2017. Now I look around and there are just countless numbers of guys with bald heads, okay, or bald fades. Now, what if I was to say that those guys are wearing bald fades and nearly bald hairstyles because they don't like the texture of their hair? Because they have come to the conclusion that if a black woman has the same 4C texture and she does not like it, but she has found a way to deal with it, that they may have a problem with that because society does not offer them the same out. They have to wear it whether they like it or not. So some guy said, to hell with it. And I don't want black chicks judging me based on the texture of my hair and not liking me because of the texture of my hair. So I'm just going to shave it off. So there are guys that do that, but I think they have the loudest argument when it comes to weaves, wigs, and extensions. And I refuse to believe that every woman that doesn't like weaves, wigs, and extensions on another woman is not a woman who wishes she could get it and cannot afford it. There is a lot of that going on, and nobody talks about them or that. By the way, to make a clarification, in the beginning, when I was a child, I hated my hair. My mother relaxed it. I still hated it because it wasn't very long. There was a moment in my life where it was long, and then when my hair got in the hands of people that don't know how to do relaxers, my hair just started breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking off. Okay, I have developed a new relationship and a new attitude towards my own natural hair. So I am wearing it far more than I used to, without a relaxer. And even now, this is a wig, and you guys know that. If you look at my other videos, I've done a review on this wig. And if you want to know what it is, I'll put it in the description box. Okay, but anyway, yeah. So we do not have the monopoly on loving our hair. I don't feel that we're ever going to be convinced that we are supposed to look in the mirror and just be in love with what it says. I mean, be in love with what it's doing or how it's looking or whatever. Some of us don't like the texture of our hair, and that is it. I don't see it as a psych problem. I don't see it as a social problem. I don't see it as a real problem, because in the scheme of things, we should be talking about how black people, black children, and teenagers are suffering from PTSD in the black community because they're seeing too many helicopters, they're hearing too many gunshots, and they're living in fear and anxiety and developing social anxiety because of the bullshit that is going on down the street from them. No one ever talks about that. No one talks about how mental illness is rampant in the black community, especially psychopathic mental illness, where you can drive down the street and riddle somebody with bullets because you don't like them. Because in the black community, you have people who don't like being black, so they may shoot you in your face because they don't want to see another black face in front of them because they hate being black. Let's talk about that. Let's leave the hair issues alone, because that ain't going nowhere. That means nothing in the scheme of things where the black community is headed. And if a black woman, like I said, if a black man or a black woman doesn't like the texture of their hair, so be it. Because there's probably nothing in the whole world that's ever going to change that. But they shouldn't be ostracized, demonized, and treated like shit because they don't like it. And they shouldn't be made to feel that in the natural hair community that they should turn in their black card if they're wearing extensions or wearing a weave, because for that particular day or that particular year or month, they don't like the texture of their hair. They don't like what it's doing. They don't like how it's acting. They don't want to be white. They don't want straight hair. They just have a problem with what their hair is doing. They wish it were different. Maybe it's thin, it's baby fine, and it doesn't do what they want it to. But they're supposed to wear it with pride and be happy that they got it. Well, that's not going to happen. And if every damn black person has to love their hair, then that is something that I got a problem with, because there are other races of people who don't have to love theirs, who don't have to do anything. They can just go ahead and color it and do whatever they want, and nobody's ostracizing them and saying, hey, you're making all these changes to your hair because you're trying to be something you're not. I understand the history of how black people have been treated concerning their hair, how they may have either not got a job promotion or not got the job they want because their hair was not according to the standards. Okay, I feel that we are not in the monopoly when it comes to that. We are ostracized and we are isolated when it comes to that problem. Most definitely. Okay, I have been there. I had long, wavy extensions many years ago. It was like really fuzzy Diana Ross type hair. And the general manager of the department store that I worked in pulled me aside, and this is after I'd been working like 6 months, and told me that I needed to change my hair or lose my job. So I didn't change my hair. I left it as it was. I kept my job But he kept on picking at me, picking at me, picking at me. So I cussed him out in the middle of all the customers, and I lost my temper. That's what happens when PMS gets a hold of you. You don't care no more. Everything just kind of comes out. Okay, well, I was given the opportunity to either get fired or quit. And I quit. Okay, but that was a long time ago. But so I understand that wasn't even my natural hair. You know, that was some braids and stuff that I had done. Okay, but I understand that, but that's not necessarily the problem for every person that doesn't like the texture of their hair and is dealing with someone who doesn't like the fact that they wear weaves, wigs, or extensions. Those things have been around for years. And second of all, ladies, if you are dealing with a man who does not like your wig, your weave, or your extension, kindly remind him, or take a look at whether or not his mother is wearing a wig. Take a look at whether or not his grandmother is wearing a wig if she's still alive. Go through his family members and see what they're doing with their hair, and remind him that most of the time those females are doing something creative with their hair, either be their natural hair or a weave or a wig, and kind of remind him that he's probably been given birth to by a woman who had a wig on when she was pushing him out. Okay, that is the thing. Most of the argument doesn't have to do with women versus women who don't like it. It has to do with black men who sometimes don't like the texture of hair that they got, don't like being judged by the texture of their hair, versus women who prefer a man with silky hair. That is a big deal for most black men. They will not necessarily call that a problem. They will just jump on you for wearing a wig because they really don't know what texture hair you got. All they know is that if you're wearing a weave, they don't like you because they would love to change something about their hair. They would like to not have to shave it off just to keep from not just dealing with it, to keep from hating it. And this type of argument is not on YouTube. I haven't seen that one video about a black man who doesn't like the texture of his hair and rants about it on YouTube to get other guys to come and say, hey, you know what? I feel the same way. We need to leave the sisters alone about what they're doing about their hair. Especially if they don't like it and we feel the same way about our own hair, then this is a problem with black people. And I don't see it going away. And the reason why it really ain't going to go away because there are other problems that are way more important for black people and way more important in the black community. And hair, you can't take it with you. Okay? But these problems that black people live with in the black community, that could, to some degree, probably dissipate to a certain degree if there was a way to get together and talk about that and figure out how to psychologically deal with stuff that is aimed at our heads every day, all day. So that is just my rant. Probably going in another direction about other things, but that is just my rant for women who are tired of dealing with people who don't like them wearing weaves, wigs, and extensions. And like I said, if you have a problem with your own natural texture and for some reason you don't like it, I feel you. I don't hold it against you. I don't feel that it's that big a problem in the scheme of other things that are going on in the community. And you know, I guess it's something that a person either is going to get over or they're not going to get over. I got over it. That's why I feel you. I got over it. That's why I can understand women who feel this way. So, if you like my video, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. Okay? Bye.